En dan komen we hier bij de slaapkamer.
Oh ja.
Met...
Goed, and here comes the kitchen, eh?
Yes.
And here I want a walk-in fridge. You know? Ah!
Yes.
So you like kitchen? Yes. Okay.
Volk in fridge.
Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. This is game 2 of a 4-game series I'm going to put on here as a preview to the coming World Chess Championship 2013 between the world champion Vishy Anand and the challenger Magnus Carlsen, the next to the youngest person ever to play for the World Championship. The youngest, of course, being the great Garry Kasparov. I think Fischer would have got it a little bit earlier, but it was a different world back then, and that's the way it goes. Anyway, this is game 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show one game that's a Anand win, one game that's a Carlsen win, and 2 draws. The first game was a draw. Now this game is going to be a decisive one. I'm not going to say who wins yet because it would ruin it. So we're going to start off. Carlsen is white, Anand is black, and please don't roll your eyes. It's going to be a Berlin, Relope Berlin. But this is a very interesting game. For the endgame aficionados, you're going to like the endgame. Knight f3, usual stuff. Go through the first few moves. It's really not. The only thing I want to do is after d6, I think maybe worth looking at is bishop to c5 instead of d6, and then bishop takes, d takes, castles. Knight takes, of course, would be queen to d4. So that's an old trick for you guys. That's why I went back a little bit to show you. That's not a free pawn. He is threatening the knight, and black is threatening mate. So all you guys in the Relope as white see that free e-pawn. It's not free because after castles, queen takes. And you're basically up a piece for a pawn. You're on move 7 and the game is over. Anyway, after d6, white castles, bishop e7. Now, I'm an e4 player myself. Mostly what I get is Sicilians, which I can't stand. In fact, I don't even play Sicilian as black. I probably should. But it's just some of these. I'm about a 1600 rated player, U.S. Chess Federation, and some of these guys just have book knowledge just through move 8, 10, 15. That's a lot for amateurs like us. That's why I like to play offbeat stuff, like I'll play the Scandinavian or just play something solid like the King's Indian Attack, where the light squared bishop ends up here and the pawn is here. Anyway, after bishop e7, c3. Double-edged reason why for that. White, of course, is eyeing the d4 square, and he's going to advance the pawn. And also, if you see, it's an escape route for his bishop. If the bishop gets hit, he doesn't want to trade. Black castles. Knight b to d2. Bishop. Rook to e1. Just getting your rook developed. Eyeballing the protection of this e4 pawn again. Rook to e8. Knight to F1. Now you see that a lot in reload pays. And I'll tell you, it's funny. I've gone over a lot of games on YouTube here as well as privately. And I see that a lot. And you think you sit at the board and you try to remember all these things. It's funny. I guess when the pressure's not on, your mind is clear. So maybe we got to find a way to clear our minds and play good chess while we're playing. Bishop to F8. Now, that must be a new theory because I have my Fritz 13 computer running off screen. And it shows 3 top moves. And they're all pretty close in score, so I'm just going to list them all. Rook to B8 is the first choice of the computer. And it just changed again. Number 2 is H6. And then Bishop F8 is now number 2. And that's what black did. It must be some kind of theory. So we're still definitely on move 9 in theory. So far, just pretty much standard stuff. Now white goes bishop to A4, which I thought was interesting rather than being chased, which normally happens, you see in the reload pay, by the A pawn. H6, stopping, of course, the pin here on the knight on F6, and also secures the G5 square. Knight to G3. As we can see, the trip that the knight made, he went from here to here, to here, to here, to get on the king side. I think it's for a couple of reasons. Double-edged, help protect the white king, and also have more pieces on black's side where he's castled against the black king. Knight to E7. Kind of the same theme, I think. Bishop, and then knight to G6, basically his counterpart. I mean, they're almost mirror images here now, where you see the 4 knights on the castle king positions. A lot of protection. D4, that's white's break. We'll see how black reacts to that. He reacts by playing C5. Interesting move. Let's go back here. I think most of us would probably take on D4, I think. It gets rid of black's center pawn and gives white 2 nice white pawns. But C5, H3 to stop the pin on the knight on F3 against the queen. Queen to C7. I think black has ideas of taking and exerting pressure on the file here. A4. I think that's stopping black from coming here, which would be an excellent move and start expanding on the queen side. And black goes A6. What would happen if black took? C takes, knight takes. It's about an even game, tiny advantage for white. But black no longer has a center pawn. Has no control over any of the center squares with his pawns. A5. C takes, E takes, knight takes, D5. He's trying to go after white's only center pawn on E4, and plus black's D pawn is isolated, so he'd like to get rid of it and also eliminate white's only center pawn. So I kind of like that move a lot. E takes, rook takes check first, the in-between move, queen takes, and then rook to E8. Now I know what he's thinking. I'll attack the queen, grab the open file, and I'm down a pawn technically, but this pawn on D5 is going to be almost undefendable. One, it's isolated, and it's doomed anyway. So he can take his time going after it. Queen to C3, queen takes, B takes. Now, I don't know if I'd like that so much if I was black to do that, to tell you the truth, because now these pawns are connected. Granted, The A pawn is isolated, but his center pawns are now connected. Rook to E1, king up, bishop, pin the knight. Anand's really going after Carlsen on this one, I'll tell you. Knight to C2, chasing the rook. Rook comes here. Now it starts getting interesting. Usually, you see these guys, but look at this now. We have all 8 minor pieces still on the board on move 24. I think that's highly unusual. The queens are gone on one set of rooks. 8 minor pieces makes it for extremely complicated middle and end games. Bishop B3, of course, to guard the F2 pawn. Rook takes, knight takes, bishop B5, just going after his pawn. And this is something white has to do, but I wouldn't have been real thrilled if I was Magnus. He has to go bishop to D4. He can't defend the pawn. Yeah, he probably could. He might be able to go here. Now you're really passive. It's just a lousy move. He's going to have to double him up, which happens. And then knight to E7. Now, the computer did that, not myself, with the 2 knights in the red and green arrows. It's trying to illustrate, I think rightfully so, that eventually that D5 pawn is doomed. After knight to E7, knight, F knight takes, knight to E4, B6. Now if you see on here, try to avoid this if you can. This is a situation where Anand is black. Probably couldn't avoid it, but if you see the 2 black knights there, they're kind of codependent. And you see the white knights there, they're not stepping on each other's toes, so to speak. Rex Singfield, the founder of the Chess Club and Scholastic Center in St. Louis, calls when you have your knights like that codependent. They cover many more squares and control many more squares if they're not somewhat guarding each other. Now, some situations you want that, but most of the time you don't. Knight D3, knight takes. Now Magnus goes for it. A takes B6. Small advantage for white at this point, but the game has gotten a lot more interesting. That B pawn is on the loose. Knight on F. Knight to C5. Of course, he's going to try to guard as many squares down the road as he can for his pawn. And at the same time, of course, he attacks the pawn on A6. D5 might have been interesting after bishop C8, G4. That might have been interesting. That would have been something maybe Magnus could have tried. After knight to C5, knight takes the pawn, B7. Here we go. Now, I'm looking at the computer. That was by far the best move. After B7, that pawn looks very menacing on B7. And I'll tell you the truth, we'll see how black's going to handle this. Of course, he brings the knight on E to C6. Stopping, of course, the queening square. At the same time, this knight is still attacking the bishop. Bishop A4, attacking the knight. Bishop E8. Knight takes A6. Looks like Carlsen is going to do it. King to F8. You got to remember now, Magnus is down a piece right now for a pawn. So if he does queen, if pawn goes to B8 queen, knight takes, the game would be perfectly even in a material. King to G3, get the kings up, here they come. Got a little king race going on here. And now this is where I think Magnus stumbles. But he did a natural move, a very natural move. He went king to F4, which is a very natural move. Bishop to D1 was really the move. That was the best option. Now what happens after king to F4, knight checks, king to E3. This knight comes here now. Now he's attacking the pawn. Bishop takes, knight takes. It's 3/4 of a point advantage for black at this point. What do you do now? And Magnus goes H4. He should have went F4. That was the move that I think keep him in the game. After H4, he's down almost 2 full points now, because what happens is king to D6, G4, bishop D7, G5, king up doesn't change anything, then bishop D6. After G5, H takes, G6, F4, and we all see it coming, bishop E6. And this is where Magnus Carlsen, of course this is in 2010, but he's currently the highest rated player ever in the history of chess, resigns. He miscalculated this. It was a fairly complicated ending. Magnus made some mistakes as well in the London Chess Classic. Or I should say, excuse me, in London at the candidates final. And I'm not saying that to put the kid down. I like him a lot. It just shows that we're all human, including the highest rated player in the world. So it's going to be an interesting match this coming November, the 6th through the 27th of November of this year, 2013. The next to youngest challenger ever in the history of chess to play for the World Championship. It's going to be great. The only part that really kind of stinks for me is I lived on the East Coast of the United States, and it's 4:30 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, when the game starts. So this is going to kind of suck for me, but I'll have to live through it because they're playing in Chennai, India. Anyway, folks, that's game 2 of our World Championship preview. A win by current champion Vishy Anand. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to encourage people that sometimes I've received some criticism that my analysis isn't that great, and it isn't because I'm a 1600 player, but what I want you to do is, during the course of the video, just stop the video and see what you would have done instead. And that helps you learn. And I learn a lot by doing these videos, so I think you can as well. If you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I hope to see all of you in the next video. And thank you for all of my new subscribers and my thousands of new views that I've received in the last few months. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Look at that. That's beautiful. It's got to be one of the most proud moments of my life, I guarantee you.